Shall I
Sir,
start?
is my voice audible, sir?
Yes, madam.
Yes, madam. Sir, wait a minute, sir. It goes live. Okay, it's shortly. I started. It takes 30 seconds.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, sir. We can start the session, sir.
Yeah. Okay. I hope my
Wait a minute, sir. Excuse me, sir. Okay.
A very pleasant and cheerful, morning to one and all present here. It is said that the aim of education is the knowledge, not of facts, but of values. It is an occasion like this we get opportunities to test our knowledge and understanding. It gives me an immense pleasure to welcome you all for the generic talk on accelerating software development with microservices architecture. The words of greetings are essential for meetings. I now request Dr. P. Erumalai, Professor and Head, Department of CSC, to welcome the gathering. Please, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, madam. Good morning, everyone present here. Let me welcome for our chief guest, today's chief guest, Mr. M. Yogees Kumar, Team Lead, LTIMindtree, Chennai. So today, opportunity we are having here, sir. So I welcome for our faculty members, our students, principals, sir, my coordinators. So all this make this a grand success of the today's event, Generic Talk Series 20. So this series, so topic on accelerating software development with the microservice architecture. And this will be give microservice architecture is an architectural pattern that builds a business application as a series of independently deployable service divided into enlightening talk series. So I welcome everyone. I thanks for management to making this opportunity to making every week of this generic series to make our knowledge enrich in this technological world. So welcome you all, sir. Thanks for accepting our invitation, Mr. M. Yogees Kumar, sir. Thank you again. Thank you for all the coordinators. So all the participants, I request to make this event grand success. Thank you for the opportunity once again. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Thank you for the warm and gracious welcome, sir. I now request Dr. S. Srinivasan, Professor, Department of CSE, to introduce the chief guest, Mr. M. Yogees Kumar, Team Lead, LTIMindtree, Chennai. Please, sir.
Good morning to one and all. It's my immense pleasure to introduce our respected speaker of today's session, Mr. M. Yogees Kumar. Mr. M. Yogees Kumar is currently working as a team lead LTIMindtree, Chennai. He completed his BE degree in information technology and MBA in human resource development. He has more than 14 years of industrial experience in software development, research, and automation. His expertise includes Java, SQL, cloud technologies, automation, and UI UX design. He got certifications in Java, Selenium, Adobe Experience Manager, and cloud technologies. He has an excellent problem-solving and analytical skills, particularly in the domain of AI and automation, and extensive experience in converting research and development projects into a marketable product. He worked in various AI-based R&D projects, focusing on innovative solutions and their commercialization. Additionally, he leads many technical teams, providing direction and guidance in cutting-edge projects. He got gold medal from TCS. He is a strategic thinker with an entrepreneurial mindset, particularly in business development and marketing of technological innovations. We are awaiting for your thoughtful talk, sir. Thank you.
Manisha, madam.
Manisha, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Now I hand over the session to Mr. Yogees Kumar.
Yeah. Thank you.
Please, sir.
Please,
Yeah.
sir. Proceed, sir.
Thank you. hope you are able to see my screen, right?
Yes, sir, it is
Yes, sir.
visible.
Yeah. So first of all, I'm very happy because so everybody from this college life, right? I studied in Sairam. So uh, with respect to R.M.D, like I know it's very one of the very famous college, and being giving a small presentation to R.M.D college, I'm very happy because it's one of the topmost premium college in our Tamil Nadu. So I'm first of all very happy for inviting me for this premium college to do this presentation. So I'm very happy, and I am also very happy to see that these kind of initiatives, like even on weekends, you are actually trying to make it because technology grows in a very faster way, and it's very happy that you're involving everybody to make sure that getting technology in the weekends also. So thanks for this opportunity, and thanks for welcoming me for this event. So today's our topic is accelerating software development using microservices architecture. This is one of the greatest topic because right now everyone, if you see before 20 years or 30 years, every business was having a traditional model actually. You can take any domain. It is either insurance, banking, airline industry, whatever may be the industry. Everything was very very traditional. So this traditional, it's kind of paperwork. So banking, if you go, there is a paperwork before 20 years. Insurance, whatever may be the domain, there's a lot of paperworks for doing the activity. So that's where the IT information technology came into sector, and slowly they started modifying all the paperwork into an product development or software related works, which is the actually starting moment of IT before 30 years. So they started developing small architectures, small methodologies, like development life cycle, waterfall development life cycle. Then they convert it into agile. So slowly the application from the smaller level, it is built into a very larger complex application. So every application slowly started developing, and by seeing that benefits, not only if the application gets developed, they'll be very happy to see, but also they should generate revenue from the application. That is what every IT industry is expecting. Not only a developing a simple product, a product which is being developed should create revenues, should impact the economic growth, should make sure that the country is growing in a very very faster scale. So that is where IT plays a vital role in the entire country to make sure that whatever they develop, either in any banking domain, insurance domain, whatever may be the domain, this soft using this services architecture, right? So microservice architecture is right now it's a very famous, but initially it was a normal architectures, like where we have various architectures actually to develop a product. So that is how it came into the picture. So now this particular presentation is like why we are actually using microservices architecture for software development. So that is what we are going to see in this slide. So I'll go to the next one. Okay. Hope you are able to see this agenda slide. So basically, I told you once this IT gets started, so generally what happened, like they started developing a lot of products using various architectures, which is called bridge architecture, which is called Java Spring Boot architecture, Struts architecture. Lot of architecture they started developing the things. So, why they started introducing this microservices architecture is basically we had when we are developing big applications, consider it if it is a State Bank of India, or if it is an ICICI Bank, or if it is any insurance company like Tata AAA or Axis Insurance. So when we develop the application, initially any product, okay, it can be either Facebook or Instagram or what, when the product is being developed, generally what happens is based on the customer usage. Initially the product is developed, we'll get some one customer, two customer, three customers, then slowly it will go to 100 customers, thousands customers, lakhs, crores. It goes in that way. So as the customer base increases, that is where the development challenges starts, because at a time, if you see the Google search engine, right? So if you think before 20 years, some people would be using Google, but now if you see the Google search, everyone is typing for anything, they are typing in Google. So after they are typing and clicking the enter, we are getting results immediately, and simultaneously billions of people are typing at the same time, and they are getting the result without even breaking. You I think guys would have never seen that Google search would have ever breaked in the past 10 years, because that is how the customer base they are being developed, they are making sure that it gets never breaked. So generally, how the product was built is, when a product is built, it is generally not only for the product but for the people usage actually. So as the people usage increases, whenever any modification is being done, right, so that modification should never ever affect the application. So that traditional approach, everyone was facing a lot of challenges. So that's why this microservices architecture is being introduced. So in this agenda, what we are going to say is, what is will be the benefits of this microservices in software development, this architecture benefit. That is one thing we are going to see in this agenda. The second one is, what will be the challenges. Okay, so whenever any new concept is being introduced, it will have a lot of benefits. The same way, it may have a lot of challenges also. So both will be seeing in this particular presentation. So coming to the first thing, like microservices architecture introduction. So basically, if you see the older architecture, there are many architecture. As I told you, lot of architecture, the software being developed actually. So if you see the challenges of that, those things will be, it will be very complex application. It will be very, very complex application. Like if it is either it is WhatsApp or Facebook or whatever it may be, it will be very complex because it has various features. If you see any banking application, you will have deposit kind of concept, withdrawal kind of concept, RD, fixed deposit, lot of things. Everybody, like that code will be written to make sure that it's very complex and also tightly coupled. Okay, so that is how because whenever people started developing in those early stages, right, they will not have any idea. So they are making sure that they are mixing everything. For example, if I have in the banking application, if I have withdrawal and also deposit, so the calculation actually goes in a very bad way. If I deposit some 10,000 rupees and if I withdraw some 5,000 rupees, that the balance calculation should happen. So all the codes whichever written in either Java or C programming or Python programming, it's all coupled together actually. So if what happens now, if I do some work in some places, if anything, a person is not doing any kind of regression activity when he's doing an application, if he's doing a code sector in a deposit application, if he's not doing any kind of proper regression or proper testing, it may break other areas, like other sectors like deposit or some other thing, it may get break. Okay, so as the customer base increases, right, any application, we don't want to wait for a longer time. Okay, for example, if you go for Amazon, if you are searching some product, if you are clicking that product, you are able to see the product, then you are want to purchase, you are clicking add to cart, then buying. And when you're clicking the buying option, it should not break, right? It should actually go perfectly till the payment, and you should be able to make the payment. So from the Amazon application, when you make the payment, there will be a link of a particular bank, which is called web services, which we call as a web services. So from the individual application, it has to connect the bank, and then from the bank, the amount has to transfer to the Amazon. So lot of services is happening by interconnecting without even it should not get affected. So as the customer base increases, everyone will be doing the same kind of concept simultaneously. If you see in the same time, hundreds of transactions or thousands of transactions or millions of transactions will be happening, and it should not break. So as the customer base increases, why this customer base I'm telling repeatedly is, the introduction of microservices itself came because of the huge customer base increase in any application. Okay, so because when millions of people are using the application, it should never break, because once you lose a customer, they will never come to our application. So this service microservices architecture is only based on the huge customer base. that should not get affected. So that's why they introduced this microservice architecture. So the old architecture will be tightly coupled, in the sense whatever applications we have, all the subdivisions inside a project, right? All the codes will be interconnected actually. If I do any code in particular place, it may get affected to some other place also. But in microservice architecture, what we are doing is, if there is a project, we are dividing that project into 10 or 15 different kinds of sub product, and each one is being done separately, and that is being connected through API concept, which means there will be no interconnection. And if you really need to connect any two sub product, you are using an API, so that it happens very perfectly. So that is the first basic positive point of microservices architecture, because that uses API, and all the subproducts are being independent, and it's a loosely coupled one, so that if you really want to do any access between the two subproduct in a very big application, you can just use the API and make sure that it is not affecting any of the subproduct, and making sure that your customer base is never getting affected. That is one of the biggest thing in the microservices architecture. So that is one thing. And the key characteristics is, as I told you, it's a decentralized. So we are not making everything as a centralized system. We are dividing everything into separatable. So then it's a scalable, because as I told you, once you increase the customer base, it should actually go in a very better way. So that scalable method is very, very important. And then we can able to use different technology in each sub product. That is the biggest advantage. For example, when the in the earlier days, when you do any application, if you are choosing one particular methodology or one particular techniques, it should be used for the entire application, because you cannot change. But here we are dividing the product into different sub products, so you can choose what you want to do, and you can connect everything through API. So you can actually choose, for this particular sub product, this technology I can utilize, and this particular architecture I can utilize. So like that, for different sub product, we can actually finalize what we want and how we can do it, so that there is no dependency at all. And only if there want to be any connection happen to between the two sub products, we can actually use this API to connect it. So that's how it happens. And as I told you, the old architecture, which is called the monolithic concept, is very tightly coupled to code base. So when you do any small changes in one particular place, definitely it will get affected in a very other places also, because we don't know like where. Because, for example, why I am telling we don't know means, you are working in an organization today. Okay, for example, consider it is TCS or Zogo, whatever it may be. You would have developed an application here. Okay, now you are moving to another company called Amazon or PayPal or any company. So they are using monolith architecture. It's an old architecture, and somebody would have written code for the architecture. Now from your company, you are moving to that company. You never ever know when you touch a particular defect, if there is a defect in that, and you are trying to fix the defect. When you fix the defect, you never ever know where it will get affected, right? Because you would never worked on that application. So you'll never know, is there any link between different places also. So that is where, see, basically a product, how it has to be developed is, any new person, okay, when they are working on an existing product, okay, if they do some defect work, for example, if there is a defect and they are going to fix the defect, it should never ever affect any other places. That is how an application should be developed, because here people are not constant, right? Everyone moves to different places. Nobody is going to work in the same company for a longer time. So in order to make sure that no application should get defected, even though multiple people changes in the project, they want this microservice architecture, which is an independent services, and they can actually connect any two sub product using this API. So that is what the intro of microservices architecture. And the benefits, the first benefit is the faster development. Okay, because if you see, initially there was waterfall life cycle model. Okay, then it took a lot of time to develop a product, so they want to introduce agile. Even after introducing agile method also, what happens, usually it's a 3 days 3 week sprint, right? I think everybody should know about agile. It's a 3 week sprint. The first week developer will be doing the development, and second week the testers will be testing the application, and third week will be uh, the business will be testing the application, and that will be delivered to the final production. So that's how we are dividing a complex application into split up, and we want to make sure that goes in a better way. That is called agile method. But still, when we are following this agile method in the monolithic architecture, if something getting affected in the development week, during testing week also they are doing the development. That is the biggest challenge even when we are following the agile methodology. But here what is the advantages? We are dividing the big product into different sub products, so each sub products is interconnected and each can use different technologies, and if really needed we are going to connect through API. So here definitely the advantages, we are developing the product in a very faster scale. That's what it is mentioned as a faster development cycle. And then scalability, I told you, right? Everybody, as the customer base increases, it should definitely not affect, and make sure that it is working in a very better way. And the flexibility, as I told you, for every sub product I can use any technology, which is the best thing in this microservices architecture. Because as I told you in earlier days, if I want to do any application, banking application or RL application, the entire application should be in Java, entire application should be in Python. But now I can divide the sub product. I can choose for this particular subdivision which is the best technology and which is the best services, and I can connect to different sub product using this API. That's one of the biggest flexibility I have. And second thing is, since I'm dividing into the different sub product, if there is any failure in one service, which will not affect any entire system. But if you see in the older architecture, right, if there is any one issue in that system, right, my entire site will be down for 24 hours until it gets fixed. But here I can actually work on the issue which is actually an issue, so other system will be working on it and I can fix it very fastly, because I know where it has been done and it is not going to get issue in the other areas, so I can fix it perfectly. So that is one thing. And second thing is, I can easily deploy, because we have a lot of Docker agents, Kubernetes agents. I think definitely once you get into industry, you will come to know all these things in a very detailed manner. So this deployment will be done in a very better way. So that is the benefits you can actually see in this microservices architecture. So the faster development lifecycle, scalability, flexibility, resilience, and continuous deployment, these are all the greatest benefits of this microservices architecture. And as I told you, right, like whenever there is great support, there will be little challenges. So since there are a lot of sub products, there will be multiple services. So there should be one great product owner who should be in a great knowledge with respect to multiple services, because people cannot, individual people will not be able to learn, will not have actually time to handle multiple services actually. So because learning is a continuous process, so that is a light complexity. And then consistency of data, because we should make sure that data is very consistent across services, which actually can be managed, because that's why nowadays we have product owners, scrum masters, everything. But still we need to ensure these things are perfectly done, because as I told you, there are different sub products. The data in the sub product should be matching with the data in another sub product, so that control, that data management should be very perfect. And then network latency, so communication between services can introduce latency. So that is something, because sometimes REST API gets failed, so that time the data, for example, I will tell you, there are big applications where you are searching, you have some 10 pages in an application where for example, consider a page for a TV channel where you are searching something, and there will be a normal home page. From there also you can search for TV channel, which is called global search. So whatever you are searching in an individual page called TV channel, okay, that item also should come. And when you go to home page and search the same TV channel, that should also come in the home page. So these kind of this communication should perfectly happen through this. So all these things should happen. And also monitoring and logging, because it's a centralized monitoring or logging, no, it's like, because everything is interconnected now. So we need to make sure that this monitoring of all the applications should be perfectly happening. And nowadays they are trying to improve that also through the business product owners and scrum master, but still there are not 100% success also. So but compared to the benefits, the challenges are only limited. If you see, the benefits are 80% and challenges is 20%. So these challenges definitely down the line they'll be trying to solve these challenges. So as of now there are light challenges, so that's the only one thing. Okay, so slowly it will be also covered down the line, because as you know, before 30 years we are nothing, and the technology comes and now we are able to do multiple work, so that is the one thing. So soon these challenges also will get erased. And then the best practices in this microservices architecture is domain driven design. So that is one thing. Okay, so domain driven design is one thing, and we are able to align the services will with the different business capabilities. That is one thing which is happening using domain driven design. And the second one is gateways through API. I told you, right? Like we are using API between the different sub products, where different sub products we are able to connect through this API. So this request and response, and I told this also one of the challenges, because sometimes if REST API gets failed, we need to quickly check what is happening in the API, because sometimes the value will not get properly coming in because of various reasons. Because if the deployment would have not happened properly, or if from the back end if the value is not coming through JSON or something, this API may get failed. So kindly make sure that when any developer is developing application, this API failure should not happen at any cost. And then coming to the service discovery, so we need to implement the service discovery, because it can be in different locations. That's one thing. Because we are not using an application for individual location, we are GDPR locations, we have many normal locations. So all these things should be maintained in a very better way. And then containerization. So obviously any people using cloud, like how they are developing an application, what they will do is they will have a separate containers where they'll be doing application, and then they'll be releasing for the deployment. So here for this microservices, we are using Dockers and Kubernetes. So obviously with respect to Dockers and Kubernetes, I don't know in college how they'll be able to give you this practice, because in real time you will be able to do this in a very bigger way. In college you may learn in a very smaller scale this Dockers and Kubernetes, but I don't know nowadays, maybe in college also they are using this in a very bigger way or not. I'm not completely aware on how now colleges is using that. But with respect to industries, once you come in, you will be able to learn about these things for how you can use it for deployment, because individual things will be coming and meeting things for the deployment and scaling. And with respect to CI/CD pipeline, we will have a pipeline. How this deployment happens and how this integration happens, we'll have a great. It's like a syllabus, okay. So we'll implement this continuous integration and continuous deployment. We'll have this pipeline, and we'll make sure that everything works in a perfect way. So these are the best practices actually we are doing. And in all the best practices we are even having the challenges, because as I told you, whenever we are doing this API failure should not happen. And whenever we are using the containers, it should be properly handled, and without any proper handling it will create an issue. And if you don't have a proper CI/CD pipeline, again the integration will be a problem. So but these are the best practices we have, but still we need to be very careful in handling all these activities in this microservices architecture. So coming to real-time example, I think everyone knows this. It's not I am going to say as a new thing. And if you see Amazon, there are as I told you, right, wherever this microservices architecture is being used, it's only place where customer usage is very more. Because whenever customers say any more, if any issue happen to the product, if I'm going to try to fix the product, and if I'm not going to be available for nearly 24 hours or 12 hours, customer will not love that product. That's the only thing. And if you see, wherever I have a huge customer base and everybody is using only microservice architecture, because as I told you, Amazon also has a lot of things, right? Displaying of products, categories of products, purchase of the product, cart functionality, buying functionality, banking functionality, integration of net banking, debit card functionality, all these things. So all the divisions, all the subdivisions will be divided into separate thing. And if you see any issue happen in Amazon, if any issue happening in the buying section, all the Amazon will work except the buying section, and the team will identify the issue in the buying section and they will fix it immediately. So that's how in the initial days, when any product is built, if any issues, now entire system will be down, so nobody will be able to access this. But not now, not like that. That's the only thing in Amazon it's happening. It's not only for Amazon, in any big application, okay, where the customer usage is more, okay, like Uber or Ola or Netflix or Amazon Prime or whatever it may be, right? It's a three example I have just I have given you. But if you see the real time, whenever customer base is huge, right? So that is where the plus point we have to make sure that everything works in a very better scale. So these are some real time example. And with respect to microservice architecture, any application, right, you can actually think that's having a better usage. Okay, so coming to that, the last conclusion. Okay, so like the microservices architecture is basically for the faster development life cycle, because nowadays we want everything in a very faster way, then only customer will be lying. So then that scalable, okay, and then it should be very very flexible, and this development life cycle should not affect any customer base. So that's why we are individually splitting it into different divisions. Okay, so as I told you, even though there are a lot of things, right, there will be a lot of challenges also. So that's how we should make sure that this challenges is not getting affected. And still this challenges is there, but still the technology is improving, and make sure that this technology will be clearly erasing these challenges also down the line. Okay, so this is what I'm trying to say here as a conclusion. Thank you so much. So I think if you have any doubts, I think you can interact with me for next 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay, sir. Please elaborate the differences between the agile and microservices architecture.
Sir, okay, fine. Yeah. So, yeah. So basically, sir, agile methodology also being used in microservice architecture. Okay, but only thing is, the architecture only is going to be different. In earlier in agile technology, monolith architecture was being used because everything was developing in a single framework. But now, the same agile methodology is being using this microservice architecture, so that all the subproducts, they are actually being developed individually. Okay, so that that is not getting affected, and making sure this agile process is happening in a very better way now. That is how it's being actually worked out nowadays for all the big application with respect to semiconductor industries or any industry. That is how they want to make the agile to be very perfect now. Because the challenges what we had in agile is, when you are using the old architecture, monolithic architecture, if any issue is happening, basically because of the 3 week sprint, in the second week, what happens, the developer is not able to complete if any complex issue happens, and that is affecting the entire testing week. The testing, basically in the IT industry, it will be called as quality engineering. So the quality analyst people will get affected because if the development is not given properly. Also, one more challenges in the old architecture is, even using agile technology, they are trying to give some part of development which is completed, and they want to complete the testing. But still, if it is following the old monolith architecture, what happens, a tester will be testing a part of application, but if there is no defect also, if the development team is releasing the rest of the application later on, again the development which will come in the testing application. Okay, again it will be a rework for the entire testers. So again, it's a very challenging of the monolithic architecture. That's why with microservice architecture, if they are completing individual subproduct and they are delivering to the developer, sorry, tester, the tester will be able to do a better testing and will make sure that delivering the product as a defect-free product in the production. So that is the biggest plus point when the microservices architecture is being used in agile technology.
What is the average product development time for developing a software product
Uh,
using this technology? So,
Sir, I think your voice is little low actually. So,
okay.
what
So,
is that?
what is the average product development time? How does it reduces the product development time for a product related to cloud product or AI-based products?
Okay.
Is it beneficial
Yeah.
to
See,
support?
basically, yeah. Okay, okay, sir. Yeah, you can just complete so that I'll tell.
Can I use it for developing a cloud-based product and AI-based product um, using this microservices architecture? And how will it reduce the development time for those products? So,
Yeah.
what is the impact of these technologies on
Okay.
developing cloud-based and AI-based products?
Okay. Sir, with respect to the product, actually, it actually depends on the size of it. Actually, depends on like how we are framing. Architecture is the one we are going to use in the product. But basically, with respect to product, like the because of the requirement, for example, if it can be very small product, also it can be very big product also. So basically, this microservices architecture we are actually planning to utilize only for the complex architecture, which has more customer base. Okay, for small applications or small thing, I don't think we need to use this one because it will not have much customer base. But whenever any product is going to have a very, very big customer base, that is where we are actually planning. It can be either cloud-based product or AI-based product or whatever it may be. If you see that AI-based product has lot of customer base, then definitely we can go with the microservices architecture. It actually purely depends upon how much customer base we have for the AI product. For example, if you see in the now we have a lot of AI agents coming up and AI tools are coming up. And if you see only some AI tools are being repeatedly used, and for some AI we are not using that particular AI for all the things. So whenever any customer is using repeatedly a particular AI product, then this particular services microservice architecture plays a very vital role. And also with respect to development time, right? You are asking, that is the biggest advantage we have because in the old architecture, basically what happens when they do any development, they need to consider everything because phase by phase they are completing development, and they need to ensure that when they do any development, it should not affect the previous development division or previous code base, or any confusion should not happen. They should be very clear. They should have a checkpoint. Usually in industry, they will have some 54 checkpoints to check sure that everything done in a very perfect way. So they need to be always very careful. And every project manager or project lead has to do micromanagement in a very, very bigger way because nothing should get affected after a particular development is completed for a particular module. But here, in this microservices architecture, a big product I am splitting into some 200 different modules. And each module, I can think I can work on different technology, different concept, or any kind of activity I can utilize in that particular module. And each and every module, I can actually finish off separately and I can deliver for testing. And I can make sure that when I'm doing in this kind of different split up model, I will have faster development completion because I have already decided what I'm going to do. And also the best point here is for each and different module, I can actually check for which technology or which specific concept I can use. And for that, that will be more efficient for that module because in the old architecture, right, we are going to use only one particular concept or only one particular technology. and we have to follow throughout the entire model the same way. But here, for this module, I can choose one particular idea or particular technology which will give faster impact in the development life cycle. So I can choose for each and different module, I can choose which is better and which is the foremost thing, and that is actually improving the efficiency, and also the development timing is also getting reduced, and also I am making sure that I'm not getting any bug issue. That is the main thing when developing an application, and also I am making sure that my customer base is not getting affected. That is one more biggest thing which I am having, because if any issue is happening in a particular domain, the other module should not get affected. That is how I'm making sure that my customer is not being affected, and also even before knowing some applications being affected, I am fixing that application with the particular developer. So these are the biggest thing. It's not only reducing the development time, but also increasing efficiency, not leaving my customer base, and also I'm making sure that all the application is working in a very bigger and effective way actually.
What will be the product development cost, sir, when we
Uh,
are using microservices architecture?
So product development cost actually it varies with respect to the products. Actually, we cannot because for example, if I'm going to develop a product, I can use any softwares for consider. If I want for design, I can use Photoshop, or I can use some AI related soft tools actually. So this product cost actually depends on what tool we are actually planning to purchase, what tool we are actually going to use. It actually based on that particular one, because we cannot tell if I use the service microservice architecture, the cost will go down. Never like that. It is only to make sure that we are not actually impacting the customer base. With respect to prices, there is no nothing like any you're going to see any difference, because whatever tool you're going to choose, definitely we need to pay the license for it, definitely we need to pay the subscription fee for it. But only thing is, we can actually ensure that for which application which will be the better technology, whether we can use an AI agent or we can use a free thing. But with respect to product in the industry side, nobody is going to use any freelancing or open source product. Definitely they'll be using the licensing product. So with respect to cost, it purely depends on that particular company or the particular client, what products actually they want for that particular application to be developed. So with respect to price, there is nothing like any different is going to happen in this microservice architecture, sir.
What about the adaptation of microservices architectures in Indian IT companies, sir, particularly of TCS or LTIMindtree?
Yeah. Sir, with not only with respect to Indian IT, sir, with respect to the global, this microservice architecture, not only with respect to Indian IT, everyone started adapting it, because, for example, everyone nowadays needs customers, sir, because more number of customer is more number of revenue to a company. Why everyone want to increase the customer base is simply because how many ever customer I'm getting trying to get in my product or in my application, that is the number of revenue I'm going to make it, and that revenue is going to be the economic growth for the, or I mean that country or that organization or whatever it may be. So in order to increase the customer base, 100% we have to use microservice architecture, or keeping the customer base is very challenging. So to literally to say this one, if I have a very big customer base, I'm going to be the billionaire of this country. So that's what every company is trying to adapt this microservice architecture, and making sure that they are trying to create a lot of revenues. And if you see nowadays, in many Indian startups, they slowly started, but if you see the lot of big products or big MNC which is outside India, they are doing in a very big effective way. That's why if you see even in India, like 60 or 70% of the US companies only leading our market actually, and everyone is using this microservice architecture.
So as far as students are concerned, they mostly developed their product using the conventional monolithic architecture.
Okay, sir. Okay.
And now they want to develop their product using microservices architecture. What
Okay.
steps to be taken, sir, in the design level?
Okay, so in the design level, first they need to understand how many different technologies and how many different techniques and how many deployment model is there. I think as with respect to student perspective, first they should come out of this traditional methodology and they should understand how many technologies there, how many techniques is there, how many deployment model is there. All these awareness should be given as an individual presentation or individual product knowledge to them. So then only when they are developing any product, they will be able to identify for their product. They will be dividing into different module, and for each module, which technology I can actually use, and which is going to give me better scalability or better customer efficiency. So I think with respect to students, we should give an awareness separately on all the technologies and all the products, and we have to show a demo product also to them, with respect to which is developed in microservices architecture, some demo product in a real time, and we need to show them how this particular demo product is using different technology and how it is getting integrated. So that is how students will get an idea on how to prepare their own product, their own thing, because nowadays there are a lot of hackathons is happening, lot of product development is happening, lot of proposals we are submitting to the government and the global investors, so they will get an idea even when they are doing a presentation to the with respect to funding or something. They can actually show not only this product is useful but also this product how they can develop using this services architecture, and that will give a better efficiency which will really impact the investors like venture capitalist or angel investor to provide a minimum fund of 1 crore, at least a minimum fund of 1 crore to the students. So I think that should be a separate session to the students on this one, like how to develop them, and they should get this awareness of each and every technology separately, which will help them to identify how they can map it actually.
Is there any prerequisite to start our design process using this technology, sir?
Maybe I don't think we can separately show as a model uh, to what to say to the college, because all these have industry standards. Maybe if possible, you can arrange an industrial visit. We'll be able to try to show some. Maybe not for everyone. We can give one permission in the initial time. Maybe some 5 students or some 10 students, if you try to bring it them, then we can actually show them a real demo on how this is done, so that these 10 students can go and inform to the other people like how this can be done, or at least to 5 faculties we can actually show a demo on a real time demo in an industry, so that they can go and transform this knowledge to the students, because we have a lot of constraints now. We cannot allow all the people to get into that real time demo, as it's a confidential related works in the industry to show that real time. So maybe some 5 or 6 people we can try to show them, so that that will impact others also, right? So that is how we can actually try to do it.
What kind of team required to develop a product using these architectures, sir? What will be the minimum size? Is it uh, suitable for startups with a team of 5 members or 3 members?
Oh yeah.
Or
Again, as I told, it depends on the application. Only like we are going to decide the team. If it's going to be kind of job portal, it can be a team of 10. And if it's going to be kind of any banking application, the team will be nearly 100. So it actually that size of the team depends on the size of the application, the usage of the application. So that is how actually it varies actually. So It is not about only MNC you should use or startup should use. Any startups can start using this technology, because nowadays more like before even the MNC getting started, products and startups company have started using this microservices architecture, and that's how the success story started happening. That's why nowadays every startup is able to generate a lot of funds within a short span of time, because they are very clear not only in deciding what product, but also in using what architecture they can use and what technology they can use for the product to make sure that they are getting good customer base. And like how many students in your college, like they are doing this kind of startup products activity? Can I know like how many numbers of people they are doing this startup activity event or any product development? How many students team are involved?
So we have an incubation center, and we encouraged almost all students to think of their own um, startup, and maximum 60 students are
Okay,
having their ideas, and they are working on their new companies
okay,
as well as new inventions.
okay, okay. And all these is being in different technologies or any specific technologies? And have they started using this architecture or?
No, sir. They are usually following the conventional monolithic architectures, and we insisted our students to follow advanced architectures like microservice architectures. Uh,
Okay.
so, how can we use it for hardware products? How do we think our product in terms of microservice based developments?
Okay. You are talking about how to use this services architecture for this hardware related products.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So with respect to hardware related products, I'm not completely 100% aware except IoT, because in IoT, that too connecting through applications, we have some idea. But with respect to complete hardware related products, um, I don't think for a traditional hardware related we cannot do it. But hardware related company which is having a website of buying their products, right? So for example, if you see a big semiconductor company called NXP, okay, so it's an hardware related company where they are selling a lot of hardware related items. So that company is also using microservices architecture. Okay, so if you can just go and refer in Google NXP. NXP is a semiconductor company which is using a lot of hardware products. It's one of the example of an semiconductor company using this microservice architecture, and I think in the world they are number third or fourth in the entire world for manufacturing the semiconductors. So, but with respect to the site development, they are using this microservice architecture. For example, they are deploying their contents or deploying a small development with respect to the website, because if you see more than a product hardware product development, their sales depends on the website. So the website is being using microservice architecture, and that is how they are making billions of revenue. And definitely, if anybody wants to develop any hardware product related website, they can definitely go and refer this NXP semiconductor company, which is in the US. That will give you a great impact how it's being developed with the different technologies.
Yes, sir. So is there any certification course for microservice architecture for student point of view to get the job opportunities?
Yes, sir. But with respect to microservices architecture, we can do certification. But with respect to job opportunities, we cannot tell if you do microservice certificate, they'll get job, because it's just an architecture. But if they are able to identify using this architecture which technology can actually impact the different subdivision, that knowledge if they have, during the entry in the product development company, that will actually help them to crack. Maybe that particular session we should have it as a separately to teach the students like how we can identify which different technology can be suited for different applications and how we can develop that using microservice architecture. I think that should be a separate direct session to the students. Maybe some you told about some 60 students who are in incubation, right? Maybe that session, I think if sometimes we can able to make it happen the next month or sometime, definitely I can come and show a real-time demo on how it can be done, because that base 60 students can do a big application using this services architecture, and we can take that to funding in a very next big level actually.
Okay.
Manisha ma'am.
It's a general question. Last year comparatively, last this year
Sir, I think your voice is breaking, sir. I am missing it actually.
Yeah. I am a low internet connection. So
Okay.
what could be the future job opportunity software service?
Sir, see, nowadays, like whoever knows this knowledge of this microservice architecture, they will only be hired, sir, actually, because everyone is very clear nowadays. Because you know, right, the economic trend is little bit challenging now, and you know, nowadays, lot of startups coming, right? If you see by 2030, even an auto driver will have a startup. Okay, because they want to do some technology and they want to make sure that they are getting a good revenue. So if you see the startup scenario in India or in the entire world, by 2030 whoever having startup, they will be a greatest person. So everybody want to implement this microservice architecture. I think we need to whoever developing the product, right, now as a startup product, we need to teach them in a very better way actually, because every startup started using it, and definitely nowadays MNC is slowly going down and everybody can see it, because everyone is doing this old approach. Now only they are trying to change to this approach, and so the startup is very acquirely doing this one, and they are starting to getting lot of funds because the efficiency plays a vital role in the global market.
Yes. Thank you for your work.
Yeah.
Manisha, you can proceed for further.
Thank you, sir. It's my privilege to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. First and foremost, I would like to express my deep sense of gratitude to our management for their constant encouragement and support in organizing events that enrich our academic life. I also wish to express my gratitude to our principal, Dr. N. Angucharian, our dean, Dr. K.K. Tyagarajan, for providing encouragement and giving us an opportunity to organize this event. Your guidance is always a source of inspiration for all of us. On behalf of our R.M.D. Engineering College, I would like to thank today's speaker, Mr. Yogees Kumar, Team Lead, LTIMindtree Chennai, for taking his precious time out of his busy schedule to grace this occasion. Thanks for delivering such an inspiring and thought-provoking. A special thanks to our head of the department, Dr. P. Erumalai, who has always been a pillar of support, guiding us not only academically, but also in organizing such wonderful events. Your tireless efforts and dedications are commendable, sir. Last but not least, I thank all the heads of the department, faculty members, and students for showing their interest in the program. I thank everyone who has made this event a success. Once again, thank you all for being a part of this wonderful occasion. Let's carry forward the spirit of learning, collaboration, and growth that we have experienced today. Thank you and have a great day ahead.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.